One of the big issues that's coming up at conference today is the Growth Commission motion. What are your thoughts on the motion?
It's a really complicated motion, and honestly, hand on heart, I don't think I know enough about it to understand it fully. It's going to be a really interesting debate. There's a lot of quite controversial amendments being put forward, and I don't know what way I think it's going to go. But I don't think I'm qualified really to understand it. I'm no economist, so I have to look for guidance from someone who actually understands what they're talking about.
My views are that we should be guided entirely by economists on the currency matter, rather than people who speak without any proper economic knowledge. That's what I have to say. That's why I'm here, to be educated about that issue, rather than to express any preconceived convictions. So that's all I have to say about the currency matter.
I think the Growth Commission is seeking to set out a lot of the issues that we had during the initial independence referendum. So at the time, we didn't have answers to all of the questions, but now we're at least taking the first steps forward to try to correct the record, lay out the truth about how we could use a currency, which currency, when the currency would kick in, things like that. Answer the questions that people really had about their pensions, about their mortgages, about their wages. We're trying to give out answers this time, and I think it's a good step forward. It might not be fully ready, but it's at least a step in the right direction.
What are your thoughts on the Growth Commission motion?
I think in the main, it's very positive, it's very, very good. I think we still need to iron out some of the finer detail, and hopefully at conference today that'll give us an opportunity to have a proper debate around some of those, I think, more maybe contentious and challenging issues. But I think in the main that's the direction of travel that we need to be going in.
And what about the currency? Would you like to see an independent Scotland adopt its own independent currency?
I actually agree it needs to be phased. I think we need to be very careful about how we go into that.
Okay.
And certainly Nicola Sturgeon's suggestion that initially we start with the pound and then gradually we, if we can meet the 6 tests, then whether we then move into our own currency. But I don't think it's something we should jump into straight away.
Well, my main concerns about the motion in terms of currency is that I'd like to see a much more accelerated move to our own currency, because my main worry is that if we link ourselves to the pound for an inordinate period, the pound itself will deteriorate against other currencies, that is the UK pound, and it will have an impact on the Scottish economy just at the time when we're trying to get on our feet. So my concerns about the Growth Commission resolution is that we need to have a much more accelerated process to gain our own currency for obvious reasons.
In my 60 years in the SNP, I've never seen a motion quite so peculiar. I seriously question whether it does anything other than give our opponents millions of areas in which to attack us and give us lots of targets. I rather thought that the white paper of the last election perhaps taught us something, which was the only significant effect of the white paper was in fact they picked up on the currency issue and ran with it because we gave them the target. I think the resolution, the first paragraph was great, and we should just have stopped it there, which said Scotland is a self-supporting, economically useful country. Great, clap, move on to something else.
I don't want to go in with an opinion. I want to take as much away from today as I can, and then form an opinion based on that.
Do you think, if you're saying that, do you think that they haven't done enough to try and educate people prior to the conference?
Oh, they've done a lot, but as with everything, there are a lot of different sources of information, and there's a lot of different voices saying even slightly varying things. So I feel it's best to have just one allocated day to sit down and compile all that, and then once you've got all that information at your direct disposal, then that's the best time to make an informed decision based on all available evidence.
I've looked at it, I'm not sure. I gather it's only advisory anyway, it's not party policy, so everything's up for grabs. I'm very interested in the currency debate, for instance. I've not decided yet whether I'll vote for amendments, whether I'll vote for the substantive motion. I think it's all up for grabs, and I'm looking forward to the conference. to listen and make up my mind on the basis of that.